On a day in mid-August 1942, a new American fighter descended from the skies over Iceland like a force of nature. The aircraft was in hot pursuit of a German Focke Wulf FW-200 Condor. The German crew looked on in disbelief. Never before had they encountered such an impressive machine. Its sleek airframe and twin tails gave it a radical and intimidating appearance. Before the Germans could react, Second Lieutenant Elsa Shahan unleashed a barrage, firing at a rate of 409 rounds a minute from the aircraft's innovative nose-mounted machine guns. In mere seconds, the Condor was dispatched. This marked the first successful American engagement in World War II. Less than half a year later, the fighter proved its versatility in North Africa. There, a lone German pilot surrendered to Allied forces near a camp in Tunisia. Agitated, he pointed skyward and repeatedly grumbled about the Gewürztram's Teufel, referring to the Lockheed P-38 Lightning, which he dubbed the fork-tailed devil. In early 1937, the United States Army Air Corps issued Circular Proposal X-608, authored by First Lieutenants Benjamin S. Kelsey and Gordon P. Saville. The requirements were demanding: a heavily armed interceptor capable of high altitudes and a rapid climb. It needed to carry 1,000 pounds of armament and excel in dogfighting with a minimum speed of 360 miles per hour at altitude. It also had to climb to 20,000 feet in 6 minutes. These specifications were the toughest the United States Army Air Corps had ever issued. In response, Lockheed Martin formed a secretive engineering team known as the Skunk Works, led by Hull Hibbard and Clarence Kelly Johnson. They explored several twin-engine configurations, including one where the engines were housed in the central fuselage with push-pull propellers. However, no American engine then available could deliver the necessary power. So, Hibbard and Johnson designed the aircraft around a pair of 1,000-horsepower liquid-cooled 12-cylinder Allison 51710 turbo-supercharged engines. The chosen design was rare, especially compared to its contemporaries. Lockheed opted for a twin-boom assembly, where the engines were mounted mid-wing, with the booms extending back to form twin rudders joined by a horizontal tail. Counter-rotating propellers eliminated engine torque, a balance achieved by using handed engines, meaning their crankshafts turned in opposite directions. The turbo-superchargers were placed behind the engines, and at the center, a pod housed the pilot in a bubble canopy. Unusually for an American aircraft, the armament was clustered in the nose instead of the wings. This allowed skilled pilots to shoot farther, without their fire crisscrossing in a convergent zone. The aircraft's tricycle landing gear drew attention, and it was the first American fighter to use stainless steel extensively, as well as smooth, flush-riveted, butt-joined aluminum skin panels. By June 1937, Lockheed emerged victorious with its Model 22, later known as the prototype XP-38. Construction began in July 1938 at the Skunk Works, located in an old bourbon distillery. Though the contract was for $163,000, costs soared to $761,000. Of the three outstanding American fighters of World War II, the P-47 Thunderbolt, P-51 Mustang, and P-38, the Lightning was the first to fly, over 2 years ahead of the others. Its maiden flight took place in January 1939, piloted by Ben Kelsey, and it displayed exceptional performance. 2 weeks later, Kelsey proposed relocating the aircraft for further testing. The fighter made a speed dash across the country from California to New York on February 11th. Upon his final stop at Wright Field, General Henry Hap Arnold, commander of the United States Army Air Corps, congratulated Kelsey, but advised him not to spare the horses. Kelsey pushed the aircraft to 420 miles per hour, setting a speed record, completing the journey in just over 7 hours, excluding refueling stops. However, upon reaching Mitchell Field, Kelsey was ordered to land behind other aircraft, resulting in carburetor icing that caused the fighter to crash short of the runway. Despite the wreck, Kelsey earned a promotion. Based on this record flight, the Air Corps ordered a batch of 13 early production YP-38s, accelerating the program's initial phases. Despite delays, these first examples improved the aircraft, establishing Lockheed as a significant government defense contractor. The first YP-38 flew in September 1940, and the last in June the following year. Substantially redesigned, the YPs were lighter and featured changes in engine fit, with reversed propeller rotation enhancing stability as a gunnery platform. Despite its potential, the P-38 faced competition from the cheaper, less capable P-39 and P-40. As a result, when the United States entered the war in December 1941, fewer than 100 P-38 Lightnings were available. Yet, they would become one of the war's top fighters. In North Africa, the Lightning first saw combat as a tactical support aircraft. However, forced to fight at low altitudes, it became vulnerable to the nimble German Me-109s and FW-190s. Many pilots were intimidated by the P-38's size and complexity, and the Army Air Force's ambivalence meant the Lightning initially failed to exploit its superior range and high-altitude performance, even though it was the only fighter in Europe capable of escorting bombers deep into German territory. Nonetheless, the fighter shone in other theaters. In the Pacific, its turbo-supercharged engines provided a decisive altitude advantage. A significant number of Lightnings were deployed there, where their unmatched range was invaluable. Most top Army aces in the Pacific flew P-38s, including Richard Bong, Thomas Maguire, and Charles H. MacDonald. In April 1943, the P-38 played a crucial role in Operation Vengeance, an American mission to avenge Pearl Harbor. U.S. Naval Intelligence intercepted communications, revealing that Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto would tour the Solomon Islands. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's directive was clear: get Yamamoto. 18 Lightnings from the 339th Fighter Squadron were selected. Only the P-38G variant, with drop tanks for extra fuel, could complete the 1,000-mile round trip. On April 18th, the fleet took off from Guadalcanal in complete radio silence, flying at just 50 feet to avoid radar detection. 2 hours later, they spotted Yamamoto's transport. Lieutenant Rex T. Barber pursued the target, hitting the right engine, fuselage, and tail assembly with his .50 caliber machine guns, causing the bomber to crash into the jungle. This operation was the longest fighter intercept mission of the war, marking a turning point by crushing Japanese morale and contributing to an eventual Allied victory in the Pacific. The P-38's combat legacy is unmatched. Its long range and high ceiling made it an excellent photo reconnaissance aircraft, second only to the British Mosquito, capturing 90% of the aerial film over Europe at the time. Some Lightnings were fitted with a bombardier's position in the nose, known as droop snoot. Beyond its role as a fighter, the Lightning branched into 18 models, including fighter-bomber, night fighter, and long-range escort. The first widely available model, the F, featured self-sealing tanks and armor. Later in the war, the P-38 reached a top speed of 414 miles per hour, with a ceiling of 44,000 feet, equipped with a 0.8-inch autocannon and 4.5-inch machine guns. Exclusively manufactured by Lockheed, around 10,000 P-38s were built, fewer than the P-47 or P-51. Combined, their pilots shot down more Japanese aircraft than any other fighter. The P-38 was retired after the war, but it is fondly remembered. As Colonel Ben Kelsey described it, that comfortable old cluck would fly like hell, fight like a wasp upstairs, and land like a butterfly. If you enjoyed this content, visit our channel for more stories like this. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Also, let us know in the comments where you are watching from.